Audio check. Good morning. Welcome. Just going to do a quick audio check. We're going to get started a few minutes after 8:30. Good morning. Just going to do one more little audio check here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started at just a few minutes after 8:30. Let people arrive here this morning. All right. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. A holiday Monday at that. We have a great little holiday coming up at the end of this week. So we got to put our energy into a great, fantastic week to enjoy what we have coming. Thank you all for joining us here. My name is Corporate Chef Adam Klosterman. I'm the corporate chef here at Apex Commercial Kitchen Company. I will be leading you through a little taste of Alto-Shaam as we talk about some of Alto-Shaam's latest and greatest technology. First and foremost, I do want to introduce myself here a little bit. My name is Adam Klosterman. As I mentioned, I'm the corporate chef here at Apex Commercial Kitchen Company, located in Minneapolis, Minnesota, right here in the Midwest, originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I know we have some folks from St. Louis, from Kansas City, from here in Minnesota. I welcome each and every one of you. My role here with Apex is to be a dedicated culinary resource to our customers. So I've been doing this for about 8 years now, and basically my job, I spend about 20 to 25% of my time here in the test kitchens doing either in-person or virtual demonstrations like we're doing today. And then I spend, fortunately enough, about the other 75% of my time actually out in the field, helping customers just like yourselves, doing training, implementing this technology and that sort of thing. We have a great sales team here at Apex who is extremely knowledgeable as well. So I support those folks in anything that's needed to help you guys get up and running and to find all the amazing benefits of the equipment that you see here today. It's one of the most important aspects of this because we are dealing with a little bit of technology. It isn't anything that's super crazy, or we're not dealing with rocket science here. You know, this is all pretty straightforward stuff. However, when you make a significant investment into your piece of equipment, here at Apex, we love to provide you with the resources to ensure that what you see here in this demonstration today is actually implemented when you get it out into the field, and that is what my job is. Today we're going to talk about two pieces of equipment. We're going to first talk about the combi oven, and then we're going to talk about Alto-Shaam's newest, latest and greatest technology in the vector oven. I know that we have some folks that are really interested in the vector that might be on here today. We're going to be talking about the combi for probably about 30 minutes, and then we'll dive into the vector. So bear with us, and I promise you we will be diving into both. Before we even get into the Alto-Shaam combi oven, I do want to talk a little bit about Alto-Shaam as a company. It has a really cool story, the classic American dream of a company. And yet today it is still a family-owned company, owned by the founder's son, Steve Moss. And Steve's father, Jerry, started the business in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, just outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And he started by building some holding cabinets. Alto-Shaam makes a variety of holding cabinets, from heated holding to waterless hot wells to heated merchandisers, all sorts of categories in the heated holding category. And that's how Alto-Shaam got their start. A good entrepreneur. He owned a fast food fried chicken delivery business in the 70s, and he invented a solution that he felt like didn't exist. So we still feel like Alto-Shaam manufactures the best holding cabinet in the market. That holding cabinet, with a little help from a small roast beef chain back in the late 70s, early 80s, came to him and said, "You're holding chicken in here, can we hold beef and other items? And then, in fact, do you think we could even cook and hold our product in the same oven?" He said, "I don't know, let's give it a try." And kind of that became Alto-Shaam's flagship product of the Alto-Shaam cook and hold oven, which kind of started and spurred the whole company. A lot of people know the name Alto-Shaam. It's kind of fun. It's a Kleenex-ish name within the food service equipment industry. A lot of people don't realize where the name came from. I mentioned the founder's name, Jerry Moss, is actually Sham, spelt backwards. And legend has it Al and Tom were his first two employees that were helping him build these cook and hold and holding ovens in his garage. So Alto-Shaam hit the ground running, and about 50 or so years ago, they started to realize that the combi technology, and that is, for those of you who are completely unfamiliar, it's combi, C-O-M-B-I, short for combination. So combi oven was beginning to gain a lot of traction in Europe. I actually, myself, had the privilege of cooking in Europe a little bit. I worked in a restaurant, really small. The space I'm in now is even big in comparison to that. But I got the ability to realize why the combi oven was invented. This restaurant that I worked in was built into this building that was, who knows, hundreds of years old. We didn't have the privilege of banging a 17-foot hood up into this space because it's old and it's small, and you had to work with the space you had. So we had a 4-burner range, an 18-inch grill, a pasta cooker, and a combi oven, and that was it. And we were able to do about 300 covers a day with just that little tiny shoebox of a kitchen. And the reason for that was because that oven, that combi-therm oven, was the hearth of the kitchen. It did everything, and every dish throughout the menu at some point in time had a touch point with that oven. It really became the hearth and the center point of the oven because of its versatility. So when I use the word versatility, what I mean by that is there's so many different applications and use cases for combi ovens, and here in just a few minutes I'm going to dive into what those are to help you understand why a combi oven would be important to your operation. But at its most basic roots, a combi oven can be utilized as a steamer, it can be utilized as a convection oven, and then it can be utilized as this wonderful magical combination of both, where we utilize high temperature steam and convective air all behind one door to make this little tiny footprint right here extremely impactful. Now, the combi oven over the years has created a lot more use cases, even more than those 3 basic ones that I came up with to begin with. Now, we're going to start by going through a few of those, but first I'm going to toss something into the oven here. When you're talking about a combi oven in a steam mode, one of the most important aspects to know and understand is that if you want to utilize this as a traditional or baseline steamer, you have the ability to do that. We can do that at 212 degrees, and we can have this work and cook just like a traditional steamer. But if you want to utilize this in a different sense, I'm going to come back to this screen here in just a second. Notice and understand that one of the biggest differences between steaming in a combi oven versus a traditional steamer is the fact that we can manipulate the temperature. So you can see here up on the screen that we have the ability to go, if we can get a camera angle change here, we can go from, excuse me, 85 degrees all the way up to 250 degrees. Which gives us the ability to do a lot of really cool and interesting things. For example, again, if you want to know and understand, we can use this at 212 for traditional baseline steaming. So don't get it twisted. It can still be really simple and easy. However, know and understand that there is a lot of other use case here. For example, let's dial this into 110 or 105 degrees. What's something that we could do at 105, 110 degrees? Well, we could utilize this as a proof box. So, I know a lot of schools and hospitals and heck, the entire food service operation, our industry is getting back to that from scratch baking. So what I did for you guys here this morning is I prepared for you some homemade cinnamon rolls. So those cinnamon rolls have the ability, just checking to see if you guys can see here, those homemade cinnamon rolls, my process there was really simple and easy. I dialed in the oven on steam mode at 105 or 110 degrees and proofed them, and then utilizing the multi-stage programmability of the oven, actually dialed it into a 350 degree bake. I could utilize that in one fluid step with the touch of one button. So I'd throw my cinnamon rolls in, click cinnamon roll button, it'd proof 25 minutes if they're slacked or thawed, maybe 45 minutes if they're frozen. They're going to rise, get to their nice shape, and then you're going to roll over automatically into a bake step. So rather than taking them from the freezer to the refrigerator, from the refrigerator to the proof box, from the proof box to the oven, rotate the pans, you now have all that ability to skip all those steps, throw your product into the oven with the stroke of one button, have that go through that process in one fluid motion. It's really neat. You can do a lot of other different things with this. You can do sandwich hoagies or rolls, dinner rolls. You can do homemade breads like focaccia bread, or cinnamon rolls is, I know, one of the more popular use cases as it relates to healthcare and K through 12 schools in particular. But a really great example of how combi oven technology, hopefully you're already starting to see some of the benefits. Utilizing low temperature steam or low temperature cook to do a unique process like proofing, then using the programmability of the oven, have it go through a proof automatically into a bake with one fluid step. This, I know for sure, I know we have a couple school districts on here. A couple, like 6 months or so ago, I was at a school and this hit home for them because for breakfast, they had 2 staff members that was in charge of getting some things prepped for breakfast the next day, getting breakfast out for that day, and also starting some lunch. They were just kind of all over the place, but every day they cooked their from-scratch cinnamon rolls, and or they baked them in-house, and the cinnamon rolls were a huge bottleneck for them. So this was a huge saver. Throw them in, channel your inner Billy Mays, set it, forget it, and off you roll. Another really cool and fun use case is something that we have going on right now. So that use case is going to be broccoli, right? So I know that we've all done this and been there before, right? But green vegetables are notoriously one of the more difficult menu items to prepare, right? Especially in an institution situation when you're cooking it in bulk. You have a lot of food. You're reliant on hot holding in a lot of instances because you're preparing a lot and you need a place to park it before you serve it. And I know we've all done it. I'm guilty of it myself. We've all served some questionable looking green vegetables, right? Like some, you know, broccoli that was a little mushy, a little pale, maybe even a little brown because it had continued to cook in the steam well for a little too long, right? We've all been there. The combi oven gives you the ability if you want. Now, if you want to steam it at 212, perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. This has simplicity if you want to channel the simplicity. It has a little bit of complexity if you want to utilize it to up your game just a little bit, right? So instead of, really simple and easy, instead of cooking our broccoli at 212 degrees, we're going to go just a little lower than that. We're going to dial it into 185 degrees, and we're going to utilize this lower temperature to maintain our bright, vibrant green color, our al dente crunch, right? And because we're cooking it at a little bit lower of a temperature, we're going to pack all that quality, that's that natural quality that's in that broccoli. And if we have to hold it, hot hold it, or park it somewhere in a steam table pan, or hopefully an Alto-Shaam hot well, right? Waterless hot well, or holding cabinet, it's going to have more of its quality for a longer period of time. So it's going to hold up better. It's going to keep its crunch and its color for a longer period of time because we cooked it in just a little bit more of a precise environment than that bustling 212 degree steam. So let's take a look at this. Even though, hopefully maybe you guys could see that, even though we're cooking at a lower temperature, you can still see that this packed a big punch, and it's just going to help us a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is get us going for the next items while we talk about this broccoli. So look at this beautiful, bright, vibrant green broccoli, okay? And honestly, almost if you looked at it, you would say, wow, like, is it actually cooked or not? You know, but it has that bright, vibrant green color. And then, of course, when you go to taste it, right? Perfectly prepared. You can almost taste those nutrients that are still left in there because we haven't cooked the heck out of it, right? So using that lower temperature, just a few degrees, because the combi oven gives us the ability to do that, gives you the ability to hone in on some of these more delicate items like your green vegetables that are extremely important every day. There's a ton of other use cases for that low temp steam. I mean, I could go on and on about it. We can use it to low temperature poach proteins in bulk for a catering or banquet situation. So if you wanted to do raw chicken breast, you could sear your chicken or grill it on a broiler or on a flat top and then finish it just in an environment like I just did there at like 180 and you would have 99% yield on that chicken breast. So rather than putting it into a convection oven or something like that, using it to prepare proteins in bulk in like a institution setting or a catering setting, banquet setting, it works fabulously. Cooking proteins that you've already given some color, a little finishing step to maintain all your moisture and yield. We can poach eggs in the shell with no water. I mean, all sorts of crazy things. We can cook desserts at 190 degrees, like our custard-based desserts, creme brulee and flan and cheesecake. We can do without the use of a water bath. So there's all these different intricate things that you can utilize the combi mode for, or I'm sorry, the steam mode for. However, I always like to come back to home base. If you want to utilize it as a steamer, fantastic. It has that basic easy functionality where this can operate just like any other steamer on the market. However, it has that increased flexibility and dynamic ability to do proof and bake, to keep the quality on your green vegetables, to finish your proteins. We were just scratching the surface. I did forget to mention at the beginning of the class here, hopefully you guys noticed, Mike actually is monitoring the chat. So if you sign up for a free YouTube account, if you haven't already, you do have the ability to plug a question into the chat there, and Mike will be answering those questions. If not, feel free to reach out to myself or to your Apex sales rep and get those questions cleared up at the end of the session. All right, so let's dive in and talk about combi mode. Combination mode is, honestly, I always joke with people a little bit, and I say it's kind of the only reason I have a job. And the reason I say that is because at the beginning of this presentation, I discussed my culinary resource that I provide to you. And the reason that my job exists here is because of combination mode. I kind of joke, but it is somewhat the reality. And what I mean by that is so many times businesses or operations will purchase a combi oven. It's very easy to get floored by this technology the first time you see it, right? It's immediately identifiable that there's a lot of value to this piece of equipment. But what happens is when you get that piece of equipment in to the store or operation level, some of these things are maybe not all the way seen through, or the staff doesn't utilize them as much as they should. So that's why I'm here, right? To help educate you folks and your staff on how this should work and how they can accomplish it. Because what happens in a good majority of cases, and especially if maybe you partner with another manufacturer, you'll have someone come out and show you how to push the buttons for 20, 30 minutes and leave, and maybe you hear from them again, maybe you don't. But what will end up happening is the staff will utilize the oven as a steamer and as a convection oven, and they completely miss the point, right, on what this oven is here for. Using this oven as just a steamer and just a convection oven, it's like buying a Lamborghini and only driving it around your neighborhood, right? What fun is that? You want to take that baby out to the highway and drive it 250 miles an hour. And that's what combination mode is, and that's what it does, and that's what I'm going to explain to you here. So today, I'm going to do a couple different things. We have some sweet potatoes that I kind of par cooked just for time's sake. I have some crispy chicken that we're going to finish off, some French fries, some roasted Brussels sprouts, and the vehicle that I'm going to use explaining combination mode to you guys is probably not the most obvious, but it is an interesting one, and that is a grilled cheese sandwich. So I know we have lots of different operations on the call today, so maybe it's useful to you in terms of seeing a grilled cheese. Maybe it's not, but I think it's a great vehicle to discuss how a combi oven works. It's the perfect canvas to kind of explain. So what I have here, if you want to bounce over to the action cam, is just 2 pieces of white bread, some American cheese. I dapped it with a little bit of spray, and that's it. The easiest and most simplest is oftentimes the best explanation. Let me get my stuff started here. All right, so what is combination mode? At its most basic roots, right? We're cooking with steam at really high temperatures, and by that I mean about above 250 degrees to about 500-ish degrees. So whenever I use or explain combination mode, as I said, I like to use the example of a grilled cheese sandwich. And here's why. If I were to task you all with cooking me a sandwich, grilled cheese sandwich, in this oven, and you've never seen or heard of this oven before, you'd probably come up to it and you'd say, well, I'm not going to do it in steam mode, right? Steam mode, that'd be a soggy, disgusting mess. We can all agree on that. So what is steam mode, right? 212 degrees, I said. And what is 212 degrees? The boiling point of water, right? Right as you put a pot of boiling water on the stove, we have that steam and that vapor that comes off the top of the pot. It's that wet, moist steam that we can all agree would never make a grilled cheese sandwich crispy, right? It's how we steam our veggies and heat up a sauce and heat up our egg omelet patties and all that sort of stuff, but would never make a grilled cheese sandwich crispy. Once we get above 212 degrees, it actually turns into a completely different type of steam. It acts, behaves, and cooks completely different from that type of steam here. The analogy I like to use here is of a sauna. We have the wooden room, the hot rocks, the pail of water. We ladle the water over the rocks and it becomes steam, but we don't see that steam, right? We're cooking, it might be a little hard for you guys to see, not in person here, but we're cooking on combination mode, right? 400 degrees and 100% humidity, and you don't see any steam inside of the cavity because we've energized that water into a gaseous state. It's invisible, right? And so what does that mean to us? That means that this steam is going to do three things for us. One, it's going to cook about 30 to 60% faster than any traditional cooking technology that you've worked with before if you haven't worked with a combi oven. So by that I mean we can roast those sweet potatoes like I just did there in a convection oven for those to get, 45, 50 minutes for those to get really crispy and caramelized up. In the combi oven, probably 20 minutes, right? I'm cooking some French fries here and I'm ruining one of my punchlines, but French fries or the fried items are notoriously some of the more difficult things to cook without a deep fryer. So schools, healthcare and hospital facilities, colleges and universities, all those places where health is a huge initiative, utilize combi ovens as a replacement for deep fryers. So French fries in a convection oven take 30 minutes at the least. And here, we can do them in less than 30 minutes, 12 to 17 minutes, depending on the kind. So we can cook in a third to half the amount of time, which gives us the ability to cook either in a more a la carte sense. So we can cook them closer to service or actually during service to not have to rely on our holding cabinets as much, more as a temporary holding box, not a permanent parking place until we're ready to serve them to keep the food fresher, right? I can cook, frozen burger patties in 5 minutes. I mean, the thing is lightning fast. The second thing is it's going to give us a better quality product. If we're cooking proteins like burgers, meatballs, chicken, fish, whatever it might be, dry air is thirsty. Think of the way the atmosphere works outside, right? When you're walking into work, there's a puddle on the ground. When you walk out, the puddle's gone. What happened? The air took a drink right out of that, right out of that puddle because it's thirsty. If we throw, a chicken breast into a convection oven or a pork loin into a convection oven, it senses that moisture and pulls it out of the product. So we'll have higher yields and better quality product. Your chicken is going to be more moist. Your meatballs, your burgers are going to be more moist. I'm going to set this up here just for a second so I don't ruin my punchline even more. Just 1 second, we'll get to that. Your chicken's going to have high yield, juicy and moist and tender. If you do like a lasagna or a pasta bake, the edges aren't going to be so crisp and dried up even after you put them into the holding cabinet that some of those portions aren't servable. So you're going to have good quality, high yield, good looking food. And the third and final thing, and this is typically like the mind-blowing moment, is that steam at these high temperatures I showed you. We're cooking on combination mode, 400 degrees, will actually make product browner and crispier and more texturized than a convection oven can. So listen to this here, right? Hopefully you guys can hear that beautiful crispiness. I had a little cheese oozage, so let me see if I can, there we go, on both sides at that. Let me see if I can get a little cheese pull here too, right? Not only is it nice and crispy on the outside, but that cheese and bread is soft and melty on the inside. The perfect grilled cheese sandwich. Whether you guys are a school or a hospital or a college where this is something that's useful, or you're a different kind of operation, the point that I want to show you guys here is that steam at high temperatures, 400 degrees, 100% humidity, will make product brown and crispier and have texture, and more efficiently than any other type of cooking device that's out there. It'll give us high yields, it'll cook in about a third to half the time, and you'll get color and crispiness and texture like you've never had on product before. I love when we get to do these virtual demonstrations and I can actually show the food. When I don't have a vehicle to show the food, I always feel like Billy May, as I referenced earlier, right? It's fast, it's better, it's brown, it's that easy, but it really truly is. It's an amazing, by far and away, the most impressive piece of equipment that you can add to your operation. Here's another thing that I want to show you guys. They should be done and ready to go here, right? Roasted vegetables are a fantastic use case for combi cooking. Take a look at these beautiful sweet potatoes. So again, another healthy initiative thing, but the type of color, crispiness, and texture that you would not get on a traditional, out of a traditional oven. This use case here is really fun. Again, sticking with the roasted vegetables, but we have some roasted Brussels sprouts. Traditionally, Brussels sprouts are something that you would have had to have blanched, right, to soften up and then roasted or fried or whatever it is. But because of that combi, using the steam and convection air kind of together, softens them up, but also crisps them up at the same time. While we wait for our other two items, I do want to just point out a couple things. A couple accessories. So the first one being, this right here is a chicken rack. We've had all sorts of operations, including schools, hospitals, colleges, you name it, grocery stores, retail, using the combi ovens for a rotisserie style chicken program. So cooking whole birds. This holds 6. The oven behind me right here is a 720, the model number, and it would hold 4 of these. So 24 whole chickens at one time. The other thing that I love to point out is the smoker box. So I'll get this into the action cam here. This is our smoke box. So the Alto-Shaam combi oven has a built-in and integrated smoker. Again, all sorts of operations and use cases for this. Schools, hospitals, healthcare, senior living, college and university. Everyone has bought this. It's such a small upgrade in the big scheme of things. Less than $1,000 for sure, somewhere around $400-600, and this slides into the oven and you can smoke. So we've had, smoking of commodity proteins and meats, to doing your traditional barbecue briskets, pork shoulders, chicken, turkey. We've had people do vegetables, so smoking chickpeas for hummus, smoking tomatoes for soup, nuts, cheeses, you name it. All sorts of use cases for that smoker that make it a ton of fun. And catering, banqueting, you name it, all sorts of stuff. You can do both hot smoking and cold smoking. That's how we're able to do the cheeses and that, and also do the bigger, bulkier proteins. A few things about Alto-Shaam in general. It is manufactured in the United States. We're really, really proud of this sticker right here. 100% made in the United States. In fact, Alto-Shaam won Wisconsin Manufacturer of the Year. So here in the States, one of our largest manufacturing states, and they won Manufacturer of the Year. So it goes to show about the work environment, the people, and the technology that they have fortituded into their operation. A few other things. The Alto-Shaam combi oven is we manufacture a boiler based. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've maybe sold 1 or 2 because we sell about 99.5% of boiler-less combi ovens. Why is that important? Water quality is an ever-changing issue within food service operations. And water quality can, of course, do a lot of damage on boilers. and that sort of thing to create heavy maintenance issues. Whew. Excuse me. Heavy maintenance issues and reliability issues. Having the boilerless model creates zero, basically, maintenance that would be required on the steam generation portion of the oven to give you some great flexibility and reliability as well. As I mentioned earlier, it is fully programmable, so it gives you the ability, I'll show you quickly here, I'll stop the cook cycle just so I can show you, to do one-touch cooking. So we could press on a button, it would begin to heat up. When it was hot and ready for you, you could open the door, close the door, and then that cooking cycle would start for you automatically. If you weren't aware, combi ovens are all self-cleaning, so it will take care of cleaning itself, which is huge and important. We use a tablet-based system that you throw down in there, down into the bottom of the drain at the end of the day, push go, and off you roll. So it is really, really, really simple. Let's take a peek, see how our other products are doing here. These look good for sure. So I'm going to plate up a full dish here for you guys. It was one thing I wanted to do. I'm getting a little crowded here with all my items. Let me throw these down below. So I know we have, like I said, a lot of K through 12 people on the call here today, so I wanted to do something that would be indicative maybe of the type of food that their clientele would like to eat. So I did some crispy chicken, right? We have those QSR, Asian kind of themed restaurants that the kids love these days, like Panda Express. So I have a little homemade orange chicken sauce here. And again, as a replacement for a deep fryer, they like these types of items, right? The crispy chicken, but maybe make it a little healthier for them. So hopefully you guys could hear, and maybe as I toss the sauce here, you guys can hear that crunch. And again, that was using steam. The combi oven as well is a great partner to other pieces of equipment, like, say behind me, the braising pan, okay? So what I did in my braising pan was prepare some fried rice. Now, the combi oven is fabulous at cooking grains. So in this instance, what I could have done was use my combi oven to bulk prepare a bunch of white rice. Maybe we're doing more of an American style dish today, so we'll serve that white rice, but maybe we've prepared 2 times as much. We use maybe a blast chiller to chill the rice down, and then the next day use our braising pan to prepare this beautiful looking fried rice. So using the combi oven to prepare your main entree, and then using another piece of equipment, or using the combi oven to par cook something, and then using something like a braising pan to prepare the other side of the dish. So let's get this bad boy plated up here and make you guys hungry. A little early in the morning, I think, for maybe orange chicken, but somebody's going to be craving some Panda Express later, I know it. So a little bit of our homemade braising pan fried rice with some of our crispy chicken. The combi oven gives you the ability, the flexibility, and the speed to cook these fresh, somewhat healthy QSR style dishes that the younger generation is craving. We garnish it off with a little bit of cilantro, and boom, suddenly they feel right at home, like they're at the mall food court. But we did it all in-house. Beautiful looking dish there. Really fun, simple, and easy. All right, let's take a peek at our last item here. Hopefully we've gotten those taken care of. And that would be our French fries. So, they could maybe go another second or two, but you guys get the point, and you can hear the crunch. And see, fried items, again, kind of going in line with that fried chicken conversation. Great for those a la carte popcorn chicken, chicken tenders, French fries, those items that younger generation loves and craves, and it just makes it really simple and easy to do. All right, that is Combi Technology. Hopefully you guys had, we're going to hopefully not make you sick here by rotating the camera over a little bit so that we can begin to talk about the Alto-Shaam vector oven. I'm going to just get set up here. All right. We good to go? Cool. Before I get started, just for time's sake again, I'm going to throw these biscuits in because they will take the longest, and I guess I'll throw a few other things in as well. The Alto-Shaam vector oven is a extremely exciting piece of equipment. I'm just going to start there. Give me 1 second. The vector oven is a category-forming piece of equipment. It's a piece of technology that has never existed before. And so whenever I talk about the vector oven, I love to talk about what the vector oven is not, rather than talking about what the vector oven is. So there's 3 or 4 different pieces of equipment that I like to talk about, because the very first time that I saw the vector oven, I immediately wanted to categorize it. So I wanted to say, oh, well, it's kind of like this piece of equipment. Well, no, not really. Well, it's kind of like this piece of equipment. Well, no, it's a little different than that too. So as I talk about what the vector oven is, I like to talk about what the vector oven is not as well. Before we even get into that, I will explain. The vector oven is available in both half-size and full-size models, and they're available in multiple chambers. So there's a 2-chamber, and I'll explain what all this means, a 3-chamber, and a 4-chamber. Today, we're cooking in a 3-chambered unit where each individual chamber has the ability to cook kind of independently of each other, and I'll explain that more here in just a minute. The first piece of equipment that I love to talk about is the high-speed oven, right? The high-speed oven is a fantastic piece of equipment. It has done its job, right? And it does a good job. The high-speed oven manufacturers have done a fabulous job at preaching speed, right? We can cook things as fast as we possibly can, and that works great in certain instances. It works great in an instance where someone is you're going to cook the product and then they're going to consume it immediately. High-speed ovens, however, have gained huge traction in operations like C-stores and gas stations, right? Convenience stores, where the food is traditionally not cooked in that way. The food is cooked and then put onto a heated merchandiser for customers to grab and go. And the microwave technology that's in high-speed ovens, right? That's how they've gained their speed, is using a hybrid of microwave and convection air together. That combination is fantastic, but the second that food goes into holding, kind of becomes the enemy in a sense, that the microwave has deteriorated the quality of the product, so as it sits in that hot holding, it loses all of its quality. The vector oven gives you the ability to cook in a high-speed or quick-fired sense without the use of a microwave, okay? So we're doing this quick-fired category-type stuff, but without the use of a microwave. So the items and things that might be slightly longer in their cook time, like let's say some frozen items, might have a longer cook time. However, 2 things. 1, we're able to cook multiple items at once, which gives us the ability to kind of overcome that inconsistency in cook time or unparalleled cook time. And the other thing is, you're rushing to cook a product that's going to, hold hot for an extended period of time. So you have more time than you think. So when you can cook product of quality and it will taste better and hold longer, you've kind of bridged the gap there together. The other difference between this is, I guess it's not a difference, a similarity that this has to high-speed ovens is that the vector oven is a ventless piece of equipment. So it does not require the use of a hood, as you can see here in this example. What does that mean, though, or how is it different from other ventless cooking devices like microwave speed ovens? We were UL approved to cook raw protein. So it's not important to everyone, but the high-speed ovens pass their UL certification by cooking about 8.5 hours of pepperoni pizza. We passed ours by cooking 8.5 hours of raw bone-in, skin-on chicken. So places that are looking to improve the quality of their food service operation or lower costs do things like change from pre-cooked sausage and bacon to raw bacon and raw sausage, or chicken or fish, whatever it might be, to improve the quality of the food and lower their cost down by not buying something that was pre-prepared. The second piece of equipment I'd like to talk about is an impingement oven, which has been, wildly successful as well. If you're not familiar with what an impingement oven is, it's the one that goes in on one end, goes through the conveyor belt, comes out the other end. And I'm going to add just a second of some time here on my quesadillas. What does impingement mean? Impinged oven means that they use impinged air. They force really hot air through really tiny holes, and it makes it really concentrated, right? That's all that means. The Vector oven has utilized a re-engineered version of impinged air. So we're forcing really hot air through really tiny holes, but the way that it's been re-engineered is the product doesn't have to move or even oscillate. Like TurboChef has a similar technology, but inside of the cavity, the product is even moving in there. Or the impingement ovens are fantastic, but they take up a wide footprint, right? Notice here, when one of my items is done, the shelf lights for that particular item are blinking. What I have for you guys here is some plant-based sausage, because I'm going to make some breakfast sandwiches. I happen to be a vegetarian, so I wanted to eat them myself. But you guys can see the concentration of that re-engineered impinged air creates almost a quasi-flat top-like surface on that sheet tray to give us some beautiful caramelization on that sausage. The impingement oven I was getting at has a long linear footprint, right? They're very wide, so they take up a ton of space. The Vector oven has this beautiful and convenient 21-inch footprint. So it's really narrow and allows you to get it into a really small space. Here's our next product. About 5-6 minute cook time on our quesadillas. So I just wanted to kind of get a little goofy, a little out there, and just kind of press the envelope a little bit. I wasn't expecting them to have any grill marks because of the quick cook time. I just kind of ran out of sheet trays. But yeah, we did get a little panini press style there, and nice, beautiful crispiness, oozy cheese. So this grill plate accessory is fantastic as well to allow you to give that more panini-esque style cooking. Impingement ovens, my last piece on that, again, traditionally require ventilation. So ventilation makes it a little tough, when you're trying to put ovens into compact spaces. The next piece of equipment is a convection oven. So the convection oven is fantastic, but it's remained unchanged relatively since its inception, right? One fan, one temperature, 4 shelves, that's it. So the difference between the Vector oven and a convection oven is, of course, it's ventless, but other big difference is that each individual shelf can cook at its own time, its own temperature, and its own fan speed. So right now, I have biscuits baking at 350 degrees. I'm cooking some eggs, sunny side up just for fun. They could just be regular egg patties though, at 400 degrees. And I'm cooking a pizza at 475 or 500 degrees. So you have the ability to have each individual chamber cook at different times, different temperatures, different fan speeds, etc. The oven, I'm going to grab the action camera here, crew, and I'm going to bring this over just so I can show off the controller a little bit while some of this stuff cooks. It's giving us a live update of what's going on. As I mentioned before, it is completely programmable. So I'm going to pause this for just a second here so I can show you that if we click on the cookbook, it's going to give us the list of all of our items so that we could then select we were cooking biscuits, biscuit, and press go, and off it rolls. This particular controller here, the deluxe controller, is actually outfitted with IoT technology. What does that mean? It's Wi-Fi compatible. So Alto-Shaam gives you for free a PC software that allows you to push recipes, make edits, push limited time offerings or seasonal items to the menu. And this can be 100% controlled from the home base. You can also cook manually if you wanted to, or we can cook via that recipe booklet. What's nice is you can actually lock the staff out of that manual cooking so that they only have the ability to cook the items that you want them to. You can use pictures from online, or you can update or upload your own custom pictures. And then you guys can see here what one of these chambers look like. We have top heat, we have bottom heat, and it's being forced through those little tiny holes. We have our sunny side up egg patties, and then look at those beautiful Baker's Brown biscuits in there. This oven is a fantastic baking oven. It really gives you the ability to do donuts and cookies and all those things that you are looking to do on a daily basis. Looks like our egg patties and likely our biscuits are done. So we're going to grab those out of here. Again, I mentioned to you that we could do egg patties, liquid egg, scrambled egg type things, more like fried egg patties. But it's really fun to show the capability of the oven, that we can do a nice runny yolked egg. I mentioned our cookies, biscuits, etc. Beautiful color. They probably got maybe a little brown in there as I talked, but we had the beautiful little biscuits there that I'm going to try to find a home for. I'm going to grab one of these. Ooh, they're hot. And in a second, I'll whip us up a sandwich. And then we just have our pizza. So look at here, in just a few minutes we've been talking. Biscuits, quesadillas, eggs, sausage. So as you look at how this works, right, the Vector oven has wide range of versatility and things that it can do and that it can take care of. It can cook frozen, supply chain food. It can cook fresh food, you name it. It can do all of it. I'm going to let my pizza go here for just a few more minutes. Make sure that cheese is nice and melty. I only put it on for about 3.5 minutes initially, so we'll let that cheese crisp up a little bit more. Fresh items, frozen items, pizza. It's an incredible pizza oven. The C-Store world has probably been the #1 adapter of this. We've been doing large rollouts with C-Store operations all over the country because they have found value in having the ability to cook and assemble kind of fresh breakfast sandwiches, or when it comes time for lunch, to just rack out shelves of pizza in a quick time frame, and good quality and consistent pizza using the programmability aspect of the oven. I'm going to let this pizza, I guess we can check out our biscuit here real quick. It's really hot, but check out the inside here. Let's see. We'll just throw it right on top of one of these. If we can flash back to the action cam. We're going to throw one of our plant-based sausage patties on here. And then we're going to throw one of our beautiful sunny side up eggs. Should have brought a spatula out here. That nice runny yolk. There's the ooze. And so you guys can see some of the quality that you can get. That is completely different what a lot of the competition is offering out there, with everything cooked in-house, assembled in a very quick time frame. The total cook time, the biscuits took the longest. Those were about 10 minutes. But those eggs cooked in 3 minutes. Those sausage patties cooked in about 4 minutes. They were pre-made, but you know, extremely fast, extremely easy. And then our last item here we'll pull out now is our pizza. The Vector oven is one of the best hidden gems of a pizza oven. I'm going to slap this over by the action cam. Whoa! That's how crispy it was. Slid right off of there. This beautiful, and you guys can see it. I'll even lift the crust up here. Beautiful. That's not going anywhere. Stiff as a board. Beautiful crispy crust. You can hear the crunch. You can see it slide away from me. That brown melty cheese. It's a beautiful pizza oven, and that was in about 5 minutes, so extremely fast. That is all I have for you guys here today. I hope you guys found value in it. Please feel free to reach out to me. My email is adamk, A-D-A-M-K, at A-P as in Peter, E-X, W-O-R-X.com, adamk@apexworks.com. Please feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, or reach out to your sales rep, Apex sales rep, and I'm sure they can get you straightened out. Thank you so much for joining me. I know how precious and valuable time is. I look forward to meeting you all in person when you've acquired your gear. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy the 4th of July. Thanks, everybody. Take care.